Alright, hey everyone. I've been out for a little while. I got the COVID and it beat me up pretty good, so I was relegated to just using Twitter, not really making videos, but I'm more or less back to 100% at this point, which is great. But anyway, Kyle Rittenhouse, unsurprisingly found not guilty. Clear-cut video evidence of him being attacked, of him being chased while rioters are yelling to kill him and hurling the N-word at him, pointing guns at him, which goes to show what a wonderful bunch of people these are. But anyway, oddly enough, and this has been done to death, so I won't go into this too much, but there are still people on the left who have wildly inaccurate takes on what happened. They say this verdict is a win for white supremacy, which is weird since no one involved was black, and the only racial slurs that were uttered in this entire case was from one of the rioters who attacked Kyle and was running after him while in a mob. A small fact that I've never seen mentioned in any legacy media outlets, but you know if it was Kyle who had said the N-word on camera to some people, it is all you would be hearing about 24/7. I just love the double standard there. But to be a bit hopeful, there are actually a good number of people who are a little bit more on the left out there who do admit and readily say, hey, this was pretty obviously a case of self-defense, and the verdict of not guilty was the correct verdict. And even further along these lines, I've seen some leftists stop and kind of scratch their heads a bit and ask the question, well, if the legacy media and my favorite political pundit is so clearly trying to feed us a warped version of reality as far as this case goes, what else have they BS'd us about? And that is a very good question for them to be asking. And it's a question with a very lengthy answer. I mean, Russian collusion, Covington Catholic, Jussie Smollett, or hell, it even goes back to Michael Brown with hands up, don't shoot, just a completely false narrative intended to stir up racial animosity. The more people that wake up to that, the better, in my book. There is one thing, though, that I found interesting with the Rittenhouse case. Some people on the left keep saying, well, Rittenhouse shouldn't have been there in the first place. Now, this is weird coming from people on the left who are typically largely in favor of more feminist thought and spend a lot of time thinking about sexism and the error of victim blaming. Now, what do I mean by this? I mean that if there's a young lady and it's 2 a.m. and she's walking down a dark street and she gets assaulted, it's not her fault at all. I think leftists and people like myself will agree on that. Even if she's wearing something revealing, it's not her fault. It's the fault of the pathetic man that assaulted her. However, those on the left generally will have a complete and utter meltdown if you dare ask the question, why were you there at that time wearing that? That doesn't mean you should have been assaulted. I want you to be able to walk anywhere at any time wearing whatever you want and not have a worry in the world. We all want that, but moving forward, it's good advice to be mindful of these things. You better have a clear path to the exit if you say this in front of these people on the left, because they lose their minds at what amounts to just really good advice, given that we unfortunately live in a world with some degenerates roaming around. But they'll have a conniption fit over this. Now here comes Kyle Rittenhouse, in which they're saying more or less the exact same thing. He should not have been there in the first place. Now, forgetting the fact that his father lived and worked in Kenosha and Kyle lived 20 minutes away from there and spent time there, so it is his community in any fair-minded view, forgetting that for a moment, isn't it still something that someone is assaulted, someone has force initiated against them, someone is being chased by a mob having racial slurs thrown at them, someone had guns pointed at them first, and these leftists, who supposedly find any form of victim blaming to be unconscionable, are now doing precisely that. What was he doing there in the first place is just another version of what was she doing there wearing that on that street at that time. The hypocrisy is palpable. But anyway, that's all for now. Like, subscribe, share the video. It's extremely appreciated. Take it easy.